Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dynamade channel. I'm Chipper,
I'm Romina.
and today we're going to be breaking down episode 1126 of One Piece.
Looming Despair. Admiral Kizaru's depressing mission. I was going to say depression.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel when I think of Kuma.
Oh, Kuma-san.
There's, so much more to the story, but that's kind of how it starts out. We end the last episode with the fight finally between Luffy and Kizaru,
It begins.
where Luffy didn't give him a second to talk.
Yep.
And then now we kind of go to Kuma, which we remember from last time. He was leaving the revolutionaries. They were really worried about the state he was in already. They're like, how is he even functioning right now?
Right.
And it turns out he's, climbing up and they're attacking him and he makes it all the way up to Marijois.
Yeah. And then the whole ending credits right now is just like the relationship between him and
Bonnie.
Jewelry Bonnie, right? And I think that's setting the stage for something big in the future. But nonetheless, even anytime you get Kuma, it just digs a little deeper into that story, and it's really intriguing.
It takes me back to, I forgot where this was, but the laboratory where they were doing the experiments on Kuma, and there was like that room where you walk in and it you feel the most intense sadness.
Oh yeah.
That's how when I think One Piece always finds the way to tug at the heartstrings. And there's so many characters where it's like parent child love too. So we're going into this story. But before we learn more about that, it shows that he made it all the way to the top. He starts attacking, and then you could see the celestial dragons there. And they're freaking out and they're angry and they're like, oh, something happened to the food supply. Oh, no, wait. But what's more important is I got hurt. So you need to fix this.
Yeah. Just horrible people.
Yes. And then he gets to the top. He unleashes his powers. And then you see Fleet Admiral Akainu show up.
Oh, yeah.
And he basically tries to stop him. He uses I forgot the name of this, Hellhound.
Okay.
With it some magma arm and punches him, and then it turns out, and then Kuma just disappears, and we don't know where he goes.
Uh-oh. And then it cuts back to.
Yes, well, it cuts as he's leaving. Akainu remembers, he remembers the moment before the scar where has Kuma's daughter Bonnie in shackles. And she is not believing that she's trying to get Kuma back. And he's saying, no, he volunteered for this. She said, no way. And then that takes us back to the present day. Mm-hmm. Back to the fight with Luffy and Kizaru. Yeah. What'd you think about the fight?
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, to me, the Luffy-Kizaru fight is so good on so many levels, because obviously, I mean, we've talked about the animation, directing, all of that's good, but it's still thematic, because we talked about, I think on the last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, about how more prepared the Straw Hats are for Kizaru this time. But Gear 5th, you saw, so Kizaru, knocked him into the wall, and then he comes back as Gear 5th, right? How Gear 5th is a or should I say Gear 5 in English? I don't know. But how that transformation is so it's like the best foil for what Kizaru does, because you're talking about the difference in styles. Okay. So it's so bouncy around everywhere and stuff. You compare that to the precision, to the style that Kizaru does, and his style of justice and all of that, I think is really interesting.
It's really hard because I'm so used to a fight with Luffy and someone we really, really hate. Mm-hmm. And even as they start fighting, you hear them they're talking to each other and trying to understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. Kizaru's asking Luffy, why are you trying to protect Vegapunk? You're a pirate.
Yeah.
Luffy's like, well, why do you want to kill him? Yeah. And then Kizaru's like, well, I don't want to kill him. Yeah. I've actually known him for a long time.
Yeah. Cracks in the armor.
Yeah. And he's like, just stay out of it, please.
Yeah. Order, because his type of justice is something like order at any cost or something, right? That's his style.
At any cost.
And then that's what I'm saying. This dichotomy between that versus loyalty to friends to like that Luffy has, right? And so what you're seeing though is when he starts doing that, when Kizaru starts like, oh, why are you doing? He's like questioning his own style of justice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's hard because I know they're fighting, but then like, is Kizaru really fully in the fight?
Yeah.
Or is he holding back? I feel like he has to be because he's not fully in it.
Right. And he's and he's actually saying now, like, I don't want to kill
him.
Vegapunk. I don't necessarily want to kill you or like to do whoever.
Or anyone.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I don't want anyone to like I only want to kill or no one don't want to hurt anyone outside of my target.
Right. And that doesn't vibe with his whole sense of justice.
No.
Yeah.
And then it goes to a nice like a quick memory Kizaru had of the Vega Force 1 as he kicks Luffy basically into it. And, it just shows how much that meant to Vegapunk. It exploded.
Yeah.
Lilith starts crying. It's the ship of their dreams. Yeah. And then Bonnie comes in and tries to attack Kizaru. Yeah. And again, he's not trying to hurt anyone. And just like, it's like, off you go, kicks her away from the battle.
Yeah. And somehow that just kicking her out of the battle is showing some sort of like emotional restraint. Like,
yes.
Like for him, like in some like way, just some subtle, it's subtle ways, but it's getting a little bit clearer, like that he's, cracks in armor, cracks in his belief system.
And, I'm trying to think like his age compared to her, but because he's like, oh, you grew up so fast. And it makes me think again, like of the Sentomaru, like uncle kind of thing. Like there's still some kind of, I don't know, respect or love or being there when she was growing up and understanding what was, happening with her and Kuma.
Yep.
Okay. So then it takes us back to, the lab with all the Vegapunks that were like crazily trying to crack the code, and they did. They were able to, they said they're finally able to deactivate the barrier. And then Frankie's like calls up Usopp and tries to warn them about Kizaru, and then suddenly Kizaru just appears inside the lab.
So another interesting thing about the fight is that it's not happening in a vacuum, right? It's happening like all over Egghead. And like people can see the results of like some of the attacks, and then it's reverberating like throughout the island. I thought that was a cool like element that was brought into it too.
Yeah. So then right when like Kizaru shows up inside, just I guess as light, just makes his way in there. Yeah. And everyone's like freaking out. Nami's crying like, what are we gonna do? Wait, wasn't he fighting Luffy? And then what happened with Luffy? And then an explosion comes in, and then you start hearing what I wrote is silly sounds. And then the drums of liberation.
The drums of liberation.
And Luffy comes in and says, thanks for knocking me all the way down. He's like, I thought I died, but here I am.
And then, that's kind of the end. I think. Do you think Kizaru is loyal to the world government, or is he just playing a part, or like how? Yeah.
I think like a lot of some of these admirals that we're seeing that are changing, people change. And I think he wanted to play a part in order and actually believed that what they were doing was right. Yeah. And was helping. Yeah. But once you get to have enough experiences like, demolishing whole islands and places, and you see how the government actually does work, maybe he saw that and realized that he wanted something different.
Yeah. And you already saw that with Aokiji, right? Who is a member of the Blackbeard pirates now. He's already defected. And do you think he's going to defect? Do you think that he's going to stay with the government? Do you think that he's going to...
Well, didn't he? I'm surprised that he's in such good standing, or it seems like such good standing with the government because he already had that falling out with Akainu anyway.
Yeah.
So, and he kind of started retreating and trying to seem to like do his own thing for a bit.
It is Akainu. It seems like the only one out of like all of the admirals that we have that's like holding to his loyalty to the government or to the Marines or to the elders or.
Yeah, it seems like Akainu has similar, I don't know, like similar thoughts compared to the government.
Yeah.
And that's why he likes it.
So Luffy's in Gear 5th battling him. Is it sustainable? Is it going to have like a...
How long will it last?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it shouldn't be surprising, but when he shows up, he's in Gear 5th and then he's like huge and comes in and grabs Kizaru. First of all, I was like, okay, of course, like he could grab him even though he's light, like, you know, he could do that. And he's like, oh, that was hot. Like holding him in his hand. Yeah. I don't think it's going to last long.
This battle to me is just, you know, since they've from Egghead is just so much more enjoyable to me than the other ones. I mean, like Rob Lucci, seeing them fight Rob Lucci or the you know, some of the machines, like this seemed, I guess because the Rob Lucci thing was almost like retread stuff, tried to get to the plot device, but like this Kizaru thing is just like a whole nother level of you know, redemption from the past, and then it's interwoven, and you have a lot of like you're at a crossroads. So many different characters are at a crossroads, and like to see where it's going to be heading is crazy.
Well, I also like a lot of these admirals or former admirals, like they're on their own paths, and they're kind of like doing it on their own. Like, and I'm wondering like what's going to happen with them. It seems just really like disjointed, and I wonder if they're ever going to join anything or each other. And so I still wonder, you know, what are all the other ones trying to do in the background?
It's also really funny how like vague the system was, like even before Luffy, right? And you kind of had the Shichibukai, or like the 7 warlords who kind of carved out their own like interactivity with the Navy. Then you also had like the Yonko, like the 4 that were supposed to kind of be helping them, but could kind of do their own thing. And you can see just how tenuous, how fragile those systems were that were in place, and how one person or one group of people, I guess if we include like Kid and Law, that like how quickly it just boom, okay, that doesn't exist anymore. And it just seems like all those like layers of protection that they had directly from Emu or from the elders is kind of breaking down step by step, you know. And I mean, literally, Kuma's had enough, and it's just going straight for Mary Jones. But
Kuma's story, I mean, how long are these storylines of some of these characters? Because I was gonna say, I feel like Kuma's story is so long that we were first introduced to him, and then that moment when he fought the Straw Hats, and which, you know, basically saved them. Yeah. That when that happened and you know, they were so angry and hated him, and were like, oh no, this is the worst thing that this is the worst thing that ever happened to us. Like, we can't find each other. They, you know, obviously they were away from each other for 2 years, but like even when that happened, I was like, why did he save them? Like, what's going on? All the way till today.
Well, and I was just looking at the manga because I was trying to see from there, but like the answer in all of these storylines is like, well, they started way over there, and then now we're over here, and we have like all kinds of different, like, it's a whole different character.
But we don't know. I feel like I don't know that much about him.
No.
Still. After all this time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know.
And that's the beauty, is like you can have such investment in the character and still know, I mean, how many more background episodes are we going to get between Kuma, Jewelry, Bonnie, like all of them, whatever happened to them in Vegapunk. Now we know that Vegapunk and Kizaru have some kind, you know, like they were together a lot. Just a lot of opportunities for further growth, even though it's just been a slow burn for...
Outside of the Straw Hats, like we go into each person on the team, but, we're really opening up the world.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Mm, let's see. Any other takeaways? Anything interesting? No.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, y'all let us know what was most interesting to y'all. If we left anything out that you'd like to include, just drop a comment below, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.